So I do not even see one engineer sitting on their desk. Oh, maybe one sitting over here with the screen on, but everything else seems fairly empty. I cannot stand these booths. Hi everyone, it's KJ. If you're new to the channel, I'm a senior software engineer working remotely here in Boston, and I've only worked in startups up until this point. I thought it would be interesting to react to a day in the life of a software engineer who actually goes into the office and who actually works at a larger tech company, so I can talk about the differences between the two. This one specifically has 2.5 million views, so I'm curious to check it out. Let's get right into it. Right off the bat, I'm seeing a 30-minute commute time. I'm sorry, but that is hard to do nowadays now that I'm used to working from home. But like in all honesty, that's an easy commute. It's stress-free. She's just taking the shuttle. But I think it's interesting because nowadays I can wake up maybe like 2 minutes before my first call and be okay to start the day. It is also interesting to note that they had a shuttle service to take people onto campus. Meta's a very big work campus, and I can imagine it's really hard to get across everywhere, but it's cool she didn't have to, physically drive to the campus herself. It's a lot more warehousey than I expected. I think I expected a little more office structure, but this seems like the exact opposite, actually. Very open concepts, very industrial, if that makes sense. Okay, so this is a major perk right here. Like, you are able to go into the office, get some free breakfast, get some orange juice, things that you would probably have to spend, with inflation, 20 bucks or something to get nowadays. It's all free. It looks like great view and everything. Okay, let me back this up real quick. You see that how the different office tables are set up. I think this is very common in software engineering specifically. You see a lot of ultra wides. You see a lot of different configurations. It looks like some Mac Pros, some iMacs, some Mac Pros, just different workstations. It is interesting to me going into an office situation where at home, I'm very comfortable. I have 2 monitors set up, 4K monitors, and I feel like I get a lot more done around here. But I can also see the plus side of going into the office and still having the nice hardware, like these ultra-wide monitors. They're probably high definition, and also being able to, turn around and ask a quick question to a coworker. I can definitely see the appeal there. It is interesting that absolutely nobody else is in the office around her. She's just there by herself, it seems. It is a really nice cafe, and I'm assuming this is always stocked to the point where nothing ever runs out, which is just a great perk. I do like the word also, micro kitchen. Seems appropriate. I think here she said she was investigating issues, which as a software engineer, I really understand because sometimes, a lot of the times, you're not even really coding. You're looking into logs, trying to see if you could recreate the issue so that you even know some sort of plan of attack to continue to actually debug or make the change in the first place. I have also worked in these modern offices that have meeting rooms and conference call stations, if you call it, set up, and they're really cool. You can feel like you're talking more in person, but it's still funny to me a little bit where you're going into work. It seemed like not many people were around you, and you're also just working on your laptop and attending virtual meetings. It's just interesting, but I can definitely see the appeal. I mean, we saw all the free food, and just being on campus may be conducive to just more productivity. Who knows? Okay, so she's going to the Indian cafe, which now makes me assume that there's just various types of cafes that you can choose from, which is really, really cool. I do love Indian food. Looks like it has the stamp of approval. But yeah, these are things that aren't even included in the base compensation that you see. You see the high salaries for these big tech companies, but what you get might be a lot more because of all the perks that you get, like free food. And a lot of the times they also have like free subscriptions for certain services that also help around the spending outside of work. See, she was able to just get a battery for free right there. Again, we have another interesting meeting room situation going on. This one's just one-on-one, but both of them are still virtual, so same situation that you would have remotely. It is good to see that she does have a decent amount of meetings throughout the day so that you still maintain that human connection. I think that's what I really like, because there's some days where you can really just be caught up in the code and not be able to talk to anybody. Dessert break. Okay, so there's not even just normal eating cafes, there are dessert places on campus. That might be dangerous for me. And it also looks like there's plenty of places outside to just disconnect. For me, it's really important to take these moments outside of the office so that you can just disconnect for a little bit. And a lot of the time, it creates for a lot more productivity when you do return to your desk and code. So I do like that Meta has a bunch of these outdoor spaces as well that you can go to. And because it's California, I'm assuming that the weather is pretty decent most of the time. It's still really looking like a ghost town in there. Let me back that up. So I do not even see one engineer sitting on their desk. Oh, maybe one sitting over here with the screen on, but everything else seems fairly empty. And it seems like a giant office. I wonder what percentage of people at this point were in office. I cannot stand these booths. I think it's partly because I'm 6'5" and I feel so closed in these, and it starts to get hot, and I just don't like the how tall this table is for my laptop because I feel like I'm hunched over all the time. But this specifically is the reason why I don't even want to go into the office when I do have the option of going into the office here in Boston. Like, don't get me wrong, they're useful and I can see why they're there, but I personally hate being in them. I will say that the software engineering things that she's talking about here do resonate a lot with me. They're very similar to the lingo that we have. We try to finish things quarter to quarter, and we have different broader timelines that we hit, and we have our daily tasks that we also need to do, which I'm assuming is what she had to send over for review from her teammates. And it's really up to the software engineer to pace that project to make sure that they can just hit their deadlines when they say they can. Okay, so 5:30 isn't too bad. I was actually curious on when she would call it a day, considering that she started closer to 10 and had all her meals there. That's interesting. It's a very nice office. Great view, and then they can watch the sunset. That's great. Oh, there's another engineer there. And I'm assuming it's a shuttle back and home. Yep. Looks like there's a 5:40 shuttle, so they expect people to leave at this time. I guess it's a little early for dinner, otherwise she would have had dinner there as well. But making it home by 6, not bad at all, really. Yeah, so that was a great video. Shout out Apurva for posting this, and hopefully you're okay with me reacting to it. But I think there's a lot of differences between working at startups versus working at big tech companies like Meta. I think her day-to-day was very similar to how my day-to-day looks, from the breaks to the meetings to the actual prioritization of bigger projects versus tasks that need to be completed today. Those are just things that all software engineers seem to do on a day-to-day basis. It was interesting to see how big the office space was. I can imagine pre-COVID that was just really filled and engineers probably bumping into each other. I mean, the desk spaces did look like they had people there at some point. Maybe they only go into the office a couple days a week, but it is interesting to see all of the different perks that you get working at a bigger company. The pay is great, the location's great, the perks are great. So I can definitely see why this is the dream job for a lot of software engineers coming up. Personally, I just really love the pace that a startup goes at, and I feel like I have the most headroom to grow in a short amount of time. I don't have to spend years at each level of engineering to show my worth and then go up. I feel like I can just progress by proving myself. Because I have direct access to leadership, I know how to get there much quicker at a startup. But you know, it's a great life working at these big tech companies, so I can definitely see why you would do it. If you want to see more React videos like this, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, stay positive, stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next one.